Only 3 minutes late. Relax. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. So what's everyone doing besides just waiting for me? For me, I run sprinters all the way around, typically. Um, Closed cell foams, the green sprinters. I'll probably have, I tried green rehabs on my B2 in June. It worked good. Yeah. I pretty much run sprinters on everything, front and rear. The ribs give too much steering, and I'm not a fan of too much steering. So now I haven't been there since June, so I don't know how much has changed. I kind of doubt much, but yeah. So I'll run sprinters, front and rear on everything, trucks, buggy. I wanted to try rehabs there. Actually, I had a set of rehabs last year, but I didn't glue them up. And I tried them for June, and it didn't really work all that great through practice. Mainly because we weren't blown off during practice. But once the race starts, we blow off after every race. So they work really good then. But what's up, Jake? Now, last year, I think it was last year's race. I think I had just glued up a set of. Now, I had green ellipses glued up because they're running the vintage nats. And I kind of thought the track would take it or they would work all right. So after the race, I threw them on my T3 and went out, and it wasn't bad. But I mean, I don't think they work better than a pin tire. You might get around, but I mean, it really depends on how you drive and how you like your car set up. But I mean, if you're gonna get down to a bar tire, it's gonna happen later in the year at Insanity. That's why I think the ellipses worked pretty good there for me last year. I'll probably take some along, like the ones I ran at the Vintage Nats last month, because you never know. It might get to a point where that'll work. You can't go wrong with sprinters. And they're probably going to be the best tire to run if you go a Saturday. Even on Sunday, like the first, the couple hours that we have in practice, you're probably going to want to be on sprinters because it's going to be too dusty for rehabs. At least on my car, the front just doesn't grip. let's just say it doesn't. The rehabs on the front they didn't grip like a Sprinter does because the smaller pin and group together more. The Sprinters work better, but once you start blowing a track off, then the rehabs worked. I wouldn't say that they were like any better than the Sprinters. You know, if anything, it was marginal. But I didn't really notice any difference between like my B2 on rehabs and my B3 on Sprinters. I didn't really notice any big difference. The Masami car, yeah. I didn't run it much. So like I actually built that car for I built that car for someone and to get it ready for the vintage Nats. And I mean, once I start putting it together, and I pretty much leave the shocks for last for everything because I never know. You can't go by the manual. You just you factor in, you figure out how many shims you want on your own, or internal limiters and all that kind of stuff. And I pretty much just threw my B2 setup in it. And my B2 works, pretty good everywhere. Because I mean, really the arm lengths are kind of similar. They got basically the same hubs, same caster block, same steering knuckle. It's really just camber locations and that kind of stuff. The car didn't work bad. I think we started with. I told Daniel to start up with a shorty pack, like a LCG lipo, and we started up front because the car's already like heavy. So I was like, there's no reason to weight it down with like a full pack or especially or even run it to the back. So he wanted me to drive it first because I built it and stuff, and take some hot laps with it. And I didn't think it was bad. It definitely needed rear grip, and I noticed that even when I was building it, that it was like the arm mounts were only like maybe 1.5 degree toe in, and obviously the hubs are 0. So, but I figured I'll just build it. I'll just do what I want, droop wise and spring setup, spring wise and stuff. Sorry, my freaking throat's a mess. Yeah, I'll go. Sorry, Derek. I think I'm okay. Yeah, I'm kind of explaining it now. So like on an old RC10 or a normal RC10 from like the wide arm, like once they went to the wide arm car, so like the 6-gear CE up until the World's car, and even that whole group, they all had 1.5 arm mounts and 1.5 hubs, so you get a total of 3 degrees total toe in, and it kind of looked. And all these Riri hubs are 0 degree. They put all the toe in the arm mount. So I'm assuming they just copied the ones that were on the original cars. So that looked to be about 1.5 to me. And I had even thought about when I was building, like once I had it together and the tires and stuff were on, I was like, man, that thing is not, doesn't have a lot of toe in it. But I was like, well, maybe it'll work. Right. So I went out with it and it wasn't bad. Well, the other thing I did was I took the kit springs off the front because as soon as you build it, there's all kinds of preload on them. So all that's doing is jacking the front end up. And so I don't know what spring rate those are, but they kind of felt like a truck silver. So I put limiters in the shocks to get the droop where I wanted it. Yeah, it was a little more than my B2, but similar. And then I put the silver truck springs on the front because that way you could put them on and there was no preload already on the spring. The back I used the kit springs with a shitload of limiters. Um, the smart way to go would be to put 102s in it, but I was just trying to use everything that was in a kit. So I just loaded it up with spacers and that was it. I mean, other than that, I mean, I kind of left the shocks kind of where like Masami's actual car was, on the top, on the outside, on the front. There's only one hole in the arm mount or in the front arms. Was there two holes in the rear arm? So they were the outer holes. And then I used the outer hole on the shock towers because the wing mounts were on the inner holes. If I wasn't, I didn't know exactly what Daniel wanted out of it. So I was just trying to do it like Masami's car or his actual car. I probably would have put them towards the inside, like if I wasn't building it with like those wing mounts or anything. I mean, I could have moved them to the outside too, but I probably would have moved them to the inside. But yeah, we were on green ellipses, close cell phone, and I didn't really think the car was that bad. It was definitely like nose heavy, like on the jumps. So I ran a couple of laps, and then I gave the radio to Daniel, and I said, move the battery to the back, and put blue truck springs on the front. So it's a little stiffer just to get a little bit more pop out of the front end. And I mean, I didn't drive it again after that. And I mean, every time I looked at someone else driving it or someone driving it on the track, it really didn't look all that bad. So when he was talking about taking it to Vegas, I had said about putting 1.5 hubs on it because it needs more tow. And especially with how that track was supposed to be. And regardless, it didn't really matter if it became like kind of grooved and stuff, but it needed 1.5 hubs on it. And I don't know if he put those on this prior to him even leaving for the race. So I don't know if he put them on or not. But I know a lot of guys were looking to do the same thing, and it definitely needed it. I didn't mess around with anything else. Like I ran like a handful of laps with it, and like I said, after changing the springs and telling them to move the battery to the back to get the weight off the nose and try and get more pop out of it with the blue springs, I didn't drive it after that, but it looked pretty good on the track. So I understand those guys out there were having a little bit of fun with it, and I can believe it there. At adrenaline, the track was more higher grip. You were allowed to use sauce and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it probably worked better at adrenaline than they did in Vegas. But other than that, I thought, and it comes with 25-degree catcher blocks. I thought about because he was saying it was like no grip, like on power, but it was also like no grip entering a corner too. Well, 30-degree catcher blocks would have helped that a little bit, at least the entering part. But I don't remember what tires he had on, but I was like, do you have this tire? Is it, yeah, put something on it, just make it push. It's like, it's one thing to be It's one thing to not have grip coming out of the corners and shit, but if you're spinning out on corner entry all the time, he's like, you got to do something to make it push. But well, you can put Mark. You can put the long because it has the. You have to have longer camera lengths, but it has the holes in the bulkhead to move it in more, like inside the wing mounts on the bulkhead, like how the original car was, or how they ran them on the original cars. Um, but yeah, it would need new, um, longer camber lengths in the back. And I mean, it's going to change like any track condition. I mean, the car's going to be different. I mean, I like my RC10, like a World's car or something. I mean, you could pretty much throw. I could pretty much put the same setup in it in any car or in any RC10, and it's going to work pretty much anywhere. If anything, I just got to like mess around with springs, but unless it's like a glue track or something like that, and you got to go like heavier oil on the shocks in the front. You don't really got to mess with the back, but it's more the front to try and slow the front end down. But Derek, you said on carpet. What are you talking about? The Masami car on carpet? I don't really run carpet much, so I really wouldn't have a good setup. But I would just go pretty heavy on the oil up in the front. Well, this is the thing with, and we have like a group chat kind of thing there with a handful of guys, and a few of the guys were there and kind of saw what was. Well, Daniel had his stealth car, and a couple other guys, or he was just telling us that didn't go what was all going on with the car there. And that car was designed for one track. It was designed for Australia, and it was never used again. I mean, it had like probably inspired the B2 and shit, but it was designed for a purpose, and that was its purpose, to run that race. Well, now they copied that car. They weren't designing a new race car. They were copying that car. Well, tires are different. Batteries are different. I mean, how much lighter are batteries compared to 6-cell NiCads and shit back in 1989? Yeah, everyone's doing LCG lipos and everything. The chassis is aluminum, which is a lot heavier. So it's totally different. It's not, I shouldn't say it's totally different, but there's a reason why that car was not produced after the race, because it wasn't a good overall car to go into production. It was meant for that race, and that's obviously where it excelled. Now the Yokomo tires helped, I'm sure. But yeah, so I mean, to just like, I would have never put together a Masami car and went to that race, knowing you're not going to get much practice time at all, and you're chasing tires. It's one thing if you're going like Hoosier for the Class of Champions, right? And it's a glued surface. It's not changing. You're running slicks, gluing sidewalls because of, you know what I mean? The track isn't going to change. So you can sit there and mess with setup and really kind of feel it getting better with every change. But that one, the track's changing the entire time you're running, and you're not really getting a whole lot of track time. So there's no way in hell I would have ran a stealth car there and fought with it all weekend. No, not a chance. I'd have taken an RC10 that I knew worked, or B2, B3, and the other classes. But 89 and 93, shit. RC10 or like one of my like old as new type builds with the long arms and that kind of shit. I'd run something like that I already knew would work for the most part. But yeah, I'd have never done that. Yeah, I don't really remember how much anti squat was in it. You know, let me scroll up a little bit. I'm talking and missing some things. Yeah, so rocket coupe. That's kind of where I was going with the geometry is all because they're just making a copy of the original car. They weren't really trying to make it better, so to speak. So now, you know, all these guys have them. You know, before there was only 6 of them. So, um, you know, now everyone's going to want to make it work. So everyone's going to have to figure that out now. Well, I did, like I said, I obviously it's going to be you know, it's going to be different no matter, you know, depending on where you're running it. Some tracks is probably going to excel better than others. Like I have cars that work better someplace, you know, or one place than another. Well, I just don't run them there. You know, because if they work here, well, I'll just keep running it there and not work and, you know, use something else somewhere, you know, at another place. But apparently, Pit Stop seems to have screwed their track up. So I don't think I'll be going down there anymore, which is unfortunate. I think I saw a question asking what I was running before. So I'm running at yeah. So I'm running my Pete asked what class everyone running. So I got my B2 for 2-wheel drive, 10T for stadium truck, my T3 for a Y2K stadium truck, and a B3, my long arm B3 for Y2K buggy. I don't have any 4-wheel drive stuff. Yeah, double X came out in '94, so that's regular 2-wheel drive. If you had triple X, yeah, you could go. I mean, you could run it in there, but yeah, I'm not gonna just saying it's supposed to be for that one for the regular 2-wheel drive buggy. I really don't need a yoke. If I the only reason on the only reason I want a yoke, like I really don't even really want to race 4-wheel drive. If I mainly because it'd be a new no matter what I got is going to be a new platform, and I have to buy all kinds of parts and shit, and I'm not in the mood for it. I got enough. 4 classes isn't enough. I don't need to add a 5th. But what I actually want to do is buy one of the 870Cs or like, you know, whatever I guess it was an 870C or the YZ10, whichever one. And I'll make some bumpers for it and put a late model body on it, like an old school late model body with the sideboard and shit. And then I screw around with it on the dirt oval this winter. So if I get a Yokomo, that's what's going to happen with it. It's going to become a dirt oval car. I'll have Jeff make me some shorter towers so I can run some touring car shocks and shit on it, and it would become an oval car. There'd be no class for it, but I would just build it just because. Oh, it's not done the race a T4. I think Mark's running Mark Baldwin. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be running his. Uh, you running your T4? What was it, 0.1 or T4.2? I think. I don't know what he was running. I know he told me the other day what he was running, but I don't remember. Well, I think you could find some stuff. I don't think it's like super hard to find. And um, Fan RC started making B4 shit, so um, anything that would be the same between the two. Um, I don't know if they're making truck parts, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the SC10 and T4 stuff is the same. So I would assume you could probably still get a good bit of that stuff. Four-wheel drive class is not big. So at like the vintage nats, we split it up into two classes. So it's like pretty much everything up until like 95 or something, pretty much pre double X4. And then it's 97, 96 or 97 to 2004 or 5. We barely get enough four-wheel drive cars at the vintage nats to have full heat to have like full mains in either class. I mean, it's been getting better, but for a while there, it was like the smallest class. So I wanted to offer a four-wheel drive class, but it was going to be any four-wheel drive, and you're going to run a 13.5. So like Bonats, it's a 10.5 in like the double X and newer BJ4, TC30, all that kind of stuff. The four-wheel drive, it's just not popular. I mean, and honestly, if it wasn't for the RC10 four-wheel drive, we'd probably get 4 cars up there at Insanity. It's just not popular. So I'm pretty sure. I don't even know. I'm pretty sure you can run any four-wheel drive up until like pre B44. So like 05, I guess. 2004, 2005 with a 13.5 at my race. Yeah, there was only 4 cars last year. But there was more in June and the Roosepalooza race in April because of the RC10 four-wheel drive. The RC10 four-wheel drive is probably half the field now. We'll take your 13.5 out and put a 17.5 in it. You got cars sitting around that you're not driving. Swap a motor. Don't give me your bullshit excuses. You can run it. You can run it in Y2K. If you have a double X, you run it in two-wheel drive. And if you got a triple X, you run it in Y2K. Problem solved. Then you run 2 classes. No, 17.5. Blinky. there it is. Lost my mouse. Oh, Trains and Lanes has a damaged Yokomo 870C kit. Just the box is like torn in the front. But we have a pretty good discount on it. But it's like I got other stuff I'd rather spend my money on. Yeah, I mean, and like I go up to 97, just because the B3 and B2 are a lot different than people really think. If you have both, you know it. But I don't think they're different enough to split it, right? Like, okay, well, you got to run, like cut it off at 96 or something. Say, oh, well, the B2 is only in two-wheel drive. It's, the same car, but it is quite different. But I put it at 97 and across the and the stadium truck. So it's like the T3, I could see an argument, and I know at the Clash of Champions they did it. I could see the argument for cutting stadium truck off at 96 and splitting up the T2 and the T3 because they're completely different trucks. But it's just easier. And I had a T3 before, and I didn't have a 10T that worked. I had a T3, so it was easier to say we'll let the T3 in. But now that there was the guys that were local to Insanity had asked about, because I didn't offer a Y2K class initially, and they were asking about being able to run their a couple guys had like triple XTs and T4s and that kind of shit. So I was like, well, I'll add to class, but you guys got to show up with them, and then we only had like 3 of them. So I was like, well, I'll give it another shot. And this time, instead of I got my 10T done, so I'll run my 10T in stadium truck, and then I'll just use the T3 in the Y2K stadium truck just to help the car count in that one. Why do you need a Marshall? You're you still got wood chop soreness, chopping wood soreness. Honestly, I don't think you'd like I don't think you'd like running a 7.5 in Insanity. That would be insanity. Those cars are fragile enough. You run a friggin' Tamiya 540 in it. Hell no. I'm poor. I really want one though. I said that's kind of the whole reason I built that with truck arms. Was because of that symbiosis. Yeah, but an RC10 World's car can take abuse. A double X is a fragile piece of shit. but it's just not. It's not big enough. Like the place isn't big enough to do it, or it's not. It's not. The track isn't big enough to really get the benefit of having something with that much motor. I will trash talk low seat any day of the week, as much as I feel like. And I've had my share. I've had plenty of low seats. When I started racing. It was with a low seat. I've had a handful of them, but then I decided I didn't need that kind of negativity in my life, and it's been so much better. And I've been so much better for it. Is there an RC22 or something? I think it was Schumacher in June. Of course, you got to look at Jose as a pro driver, and no one else at the track is, but his shit was fast. So, well, there you go. But Schumacher won in June. I think both classes, both buggies classes. No, a hydro drive wouldn't. There's plenty of grip at there's plenty of grip at Insanity, so uh, hydro drive be worthless. And I think Ronaldo had one on his car last year. He took it off. Normal slippers, more than enough. Now maybe for the loose dirt race, because it's like running on baby powder with ruts. Saturday for practice for Roos Palooza was pretty good. I was like, oh yeah, World Scar's running pretty good. And man, Saturday came. Nope. And the same thing happens. I'll be running these. No shit on my truck. So I'll have to find like the gnarliest shit to put on my buggies because they're going to need it. Blinky's just no timing. You're not putting you can put timing in your motor, but you're not doing it with your speed control. So there's zero timing. Some races are blinky. Some places like Vintage Nats are open. But I would. Well, I mean, it kind of depends on the room they have, like where they're at and the room they have. I guess it would also depend if they, yeah, no zero timing. If you said it's zero timing, it should blink. Any speed control. Just turn all your boost off. Um, I don't think they would do the 87 track because they lost. They won't do the England track because they lost. Um, yeah, I would. I mean, who knows what will happen with that? Will it be another where they just pick a venue and then have to bring a build their own track for the event, or are they gonna just try and you know find a track to go to or a shop to go to? If they got to build another, if they got to build their own, like they did there, um, it kind of depend on size. It seemed like you know, I think I'd have to look at video again of the first IFMAR race, but the track was a little on the smaller side, but I think it was actually longer than what they had in Vegas. Um, Not by much, but I think it was slightly longer. So, and I'm pretty sure most of the other tracks like that preceded that one were on the larger side. Um, so I think a lot of it's just going to depend on where they have it again and you know what the circumstances are. If they got to build their own track, what kind of room they have, or if we're just going to go to a hobby shop that already has a track. I mean, it did fine. Um, they had plenty of people there with parts and that kind of stuff. So I mean, you don't necessarily need to be at a hobby shop or whatever. And honestly, most hobby shops don't sell vintage shit anyway. So it really does no good to go to a like a modern facility. Like Hobby Action is probably one of the only hobby shops that stocks vintage stuff, and Hoosier does too. But I don't see it happening at Hoosier unless they don't glue the track, and I don't see them not gluing the track. I think the Utabi, I think that track was a little on the small side because that's indoor. So maybe something like that would work. Um, I think the one in England was a little on the smaller side, but I'd have to watch all those videos again to try and remember. Yeah, I don't got big boards on anything except for my T2M, and I ain't legal anywhere except Vonats. So yeah, I'd have to look at it again. Um, I can picture it, but like kind of looking at it as a size kind of thing, I don't really remember. Well, you don't got to buy every kit of the week, though. No, no TC4s. One will come along. I mean, honestly, I don't really need. The only thing I need from a TC4 is two chassis a rear gearbox, rear hubs. I think that's it. I don't really need much because the whole front's gonna be gone, and I'm gonna hack the chassis or cut the chassis up and basically graft the B4 front on it. So it'll actually be it'll be harder than doing the BC3 one. But this one I'm going to try and use the B4 rear arms actually I don't even need a TC4 hubs because I'm going to try and do it. Basically, it's going to be a two-wheel drive BJ4 with the molded chassis, not a separate like graphite chassis. So, and I'm pretty sure they like milled the bottom of the trans case down so they could lower it. That way it had the right dog bone angles and stuff. Because otherwise it's the diff sits really high because it's like a ring of pinion. So there's like a really big pinion on it. So it's kind of why I was kind of locked in when I did the BC3 and I left the raised hub carriers on it because of the plunge of the bones in the outdrives. Hindsight being 2020, could I drop the? I don't know. I don't think I could have dropped the gearbox because everything else kind of, the chassis braces and everything, they all kind of everything attached to itself in the back. And I'll probably run into that problem trying to use the TC4 chassis. So, but ideally, I'd like to use the B4 arms, hubs, and I don't think I'll be able to use dog bones because the touring car diff is wider than like the buggy or truck. Well, the BC3 is fragile just because I put the chassis together with tire glue. But it works good on high bite. I mean, it's a cool car. It's different. And I get more enjoyment out of stuff like that than actually just like building. It's like I built so much crap. It's like, how many times can you build the same car? So you got to get to the point where the Dremel and shit and drill press and all that stuff is your friend, and your buddy's lathe and his and his little benchtop mill and shit becomes your friend. There's a lot of old Trinity guys in Jersey and Pennsylvania because there was, I mean, shit. I think everyone was sponsored by Trinity at Trains and Lanes in the early '90s. I started racing in '91. I think everybody was sponsored by Trinity. And then you could really tell who was sponsored by Trinity at the '96 Street Spec Series race on the oval upstairs at Trains and Lanes. Really showed the ones that were getting the good batteries. So spec my ass. No. They had the dirt oval outside and they had a carpet oval upstairs. It's a flat one. And then in 94, 94, 95, they built a high bank tri oval upstairs carpet. And that was there, got to be in like the 2000, 2002, 3, somewhere around there. And they tore it down and put in those fucking batting cages. And then those batting cages were up there for years. And then they they were able to kind of wedge like a small carpet off road track um, in between, like, because the old driver stand's still there. Like the one that's there now is the one that was there in the late '80s. And they put that small off road track in the carpet one. And then they finally got rid of the batting cages. So now the whole upstairs is carpet. And then I think in 90, actually, I want to kind of say around the same time, 95, 96 is when they blacktop the dirt oval outside. Because everybody wanted to run pan car outside and everything. And dirt oval was kind of dying. So they blacktop it, and then it was popular for a little bit, and then that died off. And then in 90s, or no, not 90, 2007, put a, oh, you know what? There was an off, there was an off-road track outside, but it wasn't in the '90s. So, like, if you picture where on the opposite side of the driver's stand of the asphalt track, in that triangle shape as you're going up more towards the intersection up there, they had an off-road track in there. It was like 10 scale. And all the guys were cleaning their muddy tires off and stomping their muddy boots out on the asphalt track and pissing off the guys that were trying to run on the asphalt track. And the water runoff was pretty bad too. And then in 2007, they ran electric on the opposite side and a pole with a light on the opposite side of the shop where the A-scale track is. And they put a new dirt oval in there. And that only lasted like 2-3 years. And then, that kind of went away. And then they decided, well, the driver's stand was there. So and the electric was over there now with a pole and a light. Then they put an A-scale, the A-scale track that's there now. There used to be that one pole in the center. The dirt oval used to go around that pole. So, like, turns 1 and 2 were facing what's the road? The road where you turn off to come in the parking lot. And then 3 and 4 were kind of facing 33. So yeah, I don't remember exactly when they put. I would say probably mid 2000s they had that off-road track in there. It was good for 10 scale. You know, 8 scale really wasn't. I don't think 8 scale was as popular back then. Well, I think, yeah, I mean, the batting cages was just dumb. But I kind of think it was one of those deals where the the oval stuff was kind of dying off, and I think it needed new carpet anyway. Like the carpet was getting bad. So it was like, well, instead of, I just think he thought, right, there's no sense in recarpeting the track if guys aren't racing on it. And I guess he just thought he'd make money with the batting cages. But that was a waste. But because I mean, I don't remember. I mean, I'd go there a lot, and I can count on one hand the amount of times I saw someone in those cages from the time they went in to the time they got taken out. Yeah, so it's like it was. Yeah, I I'll never forget when I had stopped racing weekly when Vaqueros, because I raced dirt oval. So when Vaqueros closed down in Reading, so it was 2001. So like 2001 was like my last like weekly like racing every weekend. And then I stopped until 2000. It's 2004. And one of my buddies like, "Hey, you want to go down to Stalls with me? You can run my mod EDM." I was like, "Yeah." So I did that race, and then when Jake and Phil put the dirt oval in at Transit Lanes, I ran there a couple times. My Terminator sitting over there still has the dirt on the foam because I never I never cleaned a car out there the last time it raced there. So that was like 2007, and yeah, and then the vintage stuff started. The first vintage Nats was 2008 up in Connecticut. So then I would race. I raced that race, and then I had like years of health problems, and I didn't go to any of the other ones until 2014. That and I didn't even race that time. I just kind of went up because Brian Kinwall was there, and I didn't have anything ready. And then I went 2015 and raced. 2016 I missed because my wife had back surgery, and I've been to every one since 2017. But even then, I was only racing in vintage Nats. I didn't race locally at all. I didn't really start going. Like I would go like the Critters in Jersey or something, and there was a couple carbon places I would go to in Jersey. And I'd go up to trains and lanes every now and then. Not to race, just screw around. And yeah, I don't think it was like until probably 2020 that I really started like maybe racing like once a month throughout the summer. Uh, and then I wouldn't do really anything in the wintertime. But then now there's a shop that's fairly close to me that has two dirt ovals and a carpet oval. So I have my carpet pan car that it's for breakouts, so I can pretty much. Um, I was planning on going up. I wanted to go up like on this past Saturday, but it didn't. Or this past Sunday, but it didn't happen. Um, RJ's Speed Drome up at Mahoning Speedway. All right, take it easy, Derek. Yeah, the outdoor series should be good. I believe it's going to be like 3 races, like kind of like a West Coast, as far as I know, like an East Coast, West Coast, and Central. Um, I'm pretty sure they kind of already have the East Coast one figured out. So I'm going to try and get to that one. I don't want to say anything. I know it's been said where it was probably going to be, but I'm not going to say anything. Um, if it's there, depending on when, I'll try and get down there. Um, yeah, my buddy Joe goes to that We Are RC, and he said they were talking about putting a off road track in or dirt off road track. They'd probably be more towards the A scale, but if they don't get crazy, it could still be a good 10 scale track. And that's kind of how Pit Stop was. It was like, Pit Stop's a nice size 10 scale track, but you can raise A scale on it, and they do. Um, it's not, crazy small for A scale, but it's not like LCRC or something like that. But I never raised gas truck, so I might have to get a gas truck together for that outdoor national series. I mean, if the 91 car is coming, I would say it would probably come before B2. I mean, I kind of if they didn't do a B2, I would say it's a huge missed opportunity because honestly, that's like the car for vintage racing from AE. That and a B3. But like I'd say depending on how the year break off is, depending on the race. But I don't really know if they would do I mean, I don't know. Maybe they could do a Pavides B3, but I don't. If they're trying to be like a provenance thing, like for the car, obviously a B2 would be Francis. And Masami won uh, in 97 or 99 with the B3 or 97 with the B3. Or no, Kinwald not won. Kinwald win in 97 or 99. I don't remember. But I don't really see them doing I don't know. I don't really see a Pavitas B3. I could almost see a Pavitas T2. That I would understand, or that would kind of make more sense. Yeah, I wouldn't. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if we didn't see a 91 car also, but I kind of feel like that's just like money for the taking for them to just do it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Losey's really missing. Losey shit the bed with those stupid fucking 16th scale shit. It's like they came up with all this tooling crap to make 16th scale cars. They should have. I mean, that was like total missed opportunity. So, but I could see them not doing a 91, but I think it would obviously be a missed. I mean, that's like a layup. That's, doing a 91 car is like a layup to get money or to make money. So, but a B2 is like, but, but the 91 car is going to be just like the 91 car is going to be just like how the 89 car handles, but probably worse. Probably like 10 times worse with the tracks like we have now. So if guys hate the way the 89 car handles, wait till they got to wait till they got to drive that or try to get that thing set up. A B2 makes the B2 makes the most sense because I mean, really, you don't got to do shit to it. You get the right stuff in the shocks. You got to do anything else to that car. And as long as they offer optional arm mounts, 3-degree anti squat, 3-degree toe, 3-degree toe, 0-degree anti squat, 2-degree. They got to offer all that crap too, though. Yeah, Mayfield wasn't a fan of the 89 car. I only have 2 of the re-releases. Um, a lot of it was basically, a lot of it came down to money. But the other thing is like, how much shit do I need? Like, I got so much crap. It's like, how much more do I need? How many like tub RC10s do I need? And even the Kinwall car, I already had a replica. I already built a replica. I raced it at the 2019 Vintage Nats. And but I got one was given to me for a reason. I won't go into that reason. Because I don't know if I'm supposed to know the reason. But yeah, so one was given to me. And eventually I'll build it, but I ain't gonna race it because I don't need to. So that's why I'm like not really. I did a video on it, or 2 videos, just kind of comparing like what you need to do to it to get it closer to how his actual car was. But other than that, it's like I almost don't really have. Not that I don't have interest in building it, but because I'm not gonna do anything with it other than it's just gonna sit there. I'm not worried about it. And then it kind of sounded like the Masami kits were going to be kind of selling out or getting low, and I had a little bit of a fear of missing out on that one. So I really shouldn't have bought it, but I got one. And I already had the Grand Prix 3D kit to build one that way. So it's like, I honestly didn't really need it, but it just, I don't know, I just felt like I needed it. So those are the only two re-releases that I got. Um, I do actually want one of the gold team cars because I have a build in mind that I would like to do, and it would work out the best because I need a gold chassis, and it needs a gold chassis, and it needs a team shocks. So getting one of those would save me a lot of headache because there'd be a lot more of it in the box. I could use two of them because there's two cars I'd like to do. But it's like, what else was there? There was something else that I think that was it. I thought about a dual sport. Like I kind of wanted one of the dual sports, but um, I have a feeling there's going to be quite a few kits that are going to be pretty easy to get. Uh, they're going to be for sale for a while because they just didn't do as well. No, I got enough tub cars. I really don't have many gold pans. I don't have any. I got one short arm car. Um, there's a J Halsey replica that I built fucking years ago. Um, I have one TQ10, a short arm TQ10 that I was actually building for the heritage class at the vintage races, but I kind of lost interest in doing that. Um, there's another one over there, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I tore it down and cleaned it up and dyed all the parts black, but the chassis is like a boomerang, or like a banana. So the plastics aren't too bad. So if I find the right chassis or something, maybe I'll build that up. I'd actually that there's I can't remember the name of the company that's starting to pump out some of the old Parma bodies, and they got two of their old Mud Boss bodies or Mud Bus bodies. That AMC was the AMC and the Kremlin and the other one. But anyway, you can get them now. So I was actually thinking about the TQ10 that I was building for a heritage car. I was thinking about making it more like an 80s dirt oval car. Bowling foams and shit like that on it, and get one of those Parma bodies, and then I'll take it and race it up at the. Obviously, there's no class for it, but screw around with it on a dirt oval. You know, I definitely do have ADHD when it comes to the RC shit because I could be into something for a while and then it's like, whoop, on to something else. I was actually kind of like that when I was younger with models too, because I used to build models a lot. And so Vincent, yeah, you can run big bores. Um, I would get because everybody would buy me models because they knew that's what I was into. So as soon as I got, I'd start working on one, and then birthday or Christmas would come or whatever, and I'd get a couple more, so I'd start screwing around with them, and then you start what do they call it? Kit bashing, where you're taking parts from this one to use on this one and do all that kind of stuff, and then none of it gets finished. Like I probably have 150, maybe at least 100 model kits. It could be 150 model kits, and I'd say 10 of them are built. My track record with getting RC cars built is a lot better than model cars. Yeah, no problem. Hey, hopefully you can make it. It's a good time. I mean, it's a race, but it's pretty laid back. I don't really take it too seriously, especially I kind of run around, not run around, but um, I don't really get to focus so much on the racing there with putting it on. I'd like to find a double X at some point, but like I said, I'm not super into like if I'm gonna race 4-wheel drive, it's gonna be a double X. But I don't know, I'm just not really into it. Oh, it's definitely a reason for it. I was actually gonna I don't did I put a video out over the weekend? I feel like I did. Was might have been the truck. I don't know. I was trying to really get it like a set schedule and try and be consistent with it, like because freaking YouTube algorithm sucks. It's like you got to constantly putting videos out, or you just don't get the views. And for a while there, I was getting a lot of my videos were getting over 1,000 views, really without a problem. And like the last couple months, it's like barely getting like 500. And because I have a channel for my real car stuff, and it's like you put a lot of I don't want to say put a lot of time and effort into them, but you spend time filming shit in the garage, going home, editing, and all that crap, and you put it out, and you get like 80 views. It's like why even bother? So I haven't put a freaking video. I haven't put a video on my real car channel and probably when did I paint that Cobra? It was like June of 23, like middle of 23. I haven't bothered putting the video up or on that. And I don't really, it's kind of like you can see it with RC, right? Like no one's gonna watch your channel if you're constantly working on the same car. And it's the same shit with real cars. Nobody wants to see you and like I restore cars, right? Well, they take like a year to 2 years. Well, no one's gonna want to watch the same car every video until it's done, right? It's like nails on. I don't like watching it. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Well, I ain't got money to be buying fucking, you know, buying project cars and doing this and doing that and then selling it and buying. I'm not into that. And it's like it seems to be the only way to have a like successful real car channel. But I notice it a lot with the RC shit too. It's like people want to see new stuff all the time. They don't want to see, Because like even like you do stuff with like episodes, you can see like as they kind of trail off, like there people lose interest in your episodes or your series of things. So yeah, so signups are Sunday. Saturday is just an all day practice, and it's basically I put Saturday down just so it's vintage only practice, right? Because if it was just an open, because they'd be open for practice on Saturday, and you'd be running with friggin' mini truggies with friggin' 8.5s and shit in them, and nah, nope. So if I put it down for the whole weekend, the practice, if you're going to pay $20 for practice on Saturday on your own, it's not part of the deal. But Saturday is vintage only, so at least you're. I see you, Mark. Uh, yeah, you don't got to deal with any of that stuff. I mean, I don't really put effort into my. Well, obviously, you could. I mean, I probably put a little more effort in than you do because I actually like fade in and fade out. That's about it for me. Um, yours just comes on and goes off. Fade's easy though. Fade in, fade out. You just got to make sure you leave yourself enough before you start talking at the beginning, and enough time after you stop talking at the end. I don't think Traxxas will. I mean, I I highly doubt Traxxas will. It'd be cool if they did, and made it a kit, but like a TRX one or something. And really, that's all you need to do. Just make a TRX one. You make a lot of guys happy. And I mean, they got enough money to do it. But I think that's the thing. They make enough money. Freaking slashes and shit are sold everywhere. So, you know, and all their crawler stuff, and they're making money hand over fist. But it would be cool if they, you know, made a TRX one. Yeah, no problem. Just don't break it. It's pretty bulletproof. The other Moto Obscura arms and stuff on it. The real one is JC Garage. So JC Garage, space between. I mainly just did like, there really isn't a whole lot of shit on there. I did a lot of stuff where, like, going to car shows and stuff. So, little video driving the cars there and then like walking around and shit, showing off the cars. And I had a lot of that kind of stuff. I started doing like a series, like an episode thing with a 52 Chevy that my kid had bought. We were getting it running because it had sat for years. So I put a, what all we do that? I think we lowered it. Shit, I don't even remember. 3 inches? 3 or 4 inches all the way around. Converted it to 12-volt. Put all new wiring harness and shit in it. New shocks. That I put a new trunk floor section in it. Yeah, all kind of stuff. Electric wiper motor. was it converted 12 volts, put an alternator in it, disc brake conversion or power disc brake conversion, and then the 52 Chevy, the JC Garage, the master cylinder and the pedal and everything are on the frame, so the pedal comes up out of the floor. So we got a dual master cylinder and booster to mount on the firewall, so I had a swinging pedal. So we did like that conversion. I did a couple walkarounds of like cars that we had built already. So like there's a 70 Nova on there, SS 396, all numbers matching. We didn't do that one like in our shop, but we did it in the collision shop that I worked in the late 90s. Might have been like maybe 99, 2000. We did like a body and paint on it. It didn't like fully restore it because the car only has like 27,000 original miles on it. So that one's on there. 70 Chevelle we did. It was an SS 396. I did some videos on my 55 Chevy, my dad's 55, his Henry J. Both of those are gassers. And the Cobra. I was trying to do some more progress stuff on like the Cobra that I was doing from like 2022 and 2023. I almost don't even remember what's all on there. But I would like, you put the time, especially like going around. I mean, you're walking around a car show anyway, but you're trying to, make a video and, make it good and stuff. And then, it gets 80 some views. It's like, fuck that. I don't need to do it no more. And what's funny with that channel is like I still get people subscribing. It's like, have you noticed I haven't put a video on there in like over 2 years? But I mean, maybe they're subscribing so they can go back to, quicker reference to one of my videos, maybe, or something like that. Maybe. It's actually not bad. I know I missed somebody's. Hang on. Oh, John. Yeah, you gotta start. You gotta start on old projects. I don't take my own advice with that, but I'll tell you to not let your projects sit. My thing, honestly, I mean, it's mainly money with me. And like the last year has really sucked because like back in last October, my wife got diagnosed with breast cancer. So she had double mastectomy, and then they had put tissue expanders in for like the reconstruction part. So she gets all healed up, goes back to work, and the week she goes back to work, she gets an infection. So she's in hospital for a week, and then they end up having a surgery, takes the expanders back out. So she has to heal up again. Then a couple months later, she goes, heals up for another 6 weeks, 8 weeks, goes back to work, and she's back. She has another surgery to put the expanders back in. There's another 6-week recovery. She goes back to work for a little bit, and she's off again to have the reconstruction surgery done. So then there's another 6 weeks. So it's like she's missed a lot of work since October. And it's just been rough. And I don't have like the best. I basically work for myself. It's me and my dad in his garage. So, and I haven't had the best paying customers as of late. So, I can only put so much time in. I can only work as much as far as their money goes. So, yeah, it's been rough. Even trying to get to like these races and shit has been rough. So I haven't raced locally at all, except for my 3 races at Insanity. I missed the January race in North Carolina because my wife had like just got she had just started work again after the uh, infection surgery and all that crap, and then she was like gun shy about another infection or something after that surgery, and she didn't want me 10 hours away or 10 hours away from home. So I missed that one. But I made it Hoosier one, my 3 races. I didn't get to Jose's race at Mimi's because my wife was having one of her surgeries the next day, right? Like that Monday. So I missed that one, but made Vonats. I didn't make Vegas, obviously, and I knew that wasn't happening. So I'm hoping I can make the one in January again this year. Or next year. This coming January. I'm hoping I can make it. But she has another surgery next Tuesday. But it's only like a 2-week recovery kind of thing. And then she's gonna have another one after that. And we're moving closer and closer to the beginning of January. So I don't know if it's gonna happen. But we just need some steady money coming in here. It's been a rough year. Yeah, he won in 93. So if they're trying to do like provenance things, if they want to do a B3, you would think it would be Masami. But at the same point, they already did the 89 car. And if the 91 car does come, they probably do a Masami car again. So it's like, how many Masami cars do they really want to do? Nothing against them, but they've had a lot of good drivers come through there. That's what I said. I think I could see them doing like if they did a T2, I could see like a Francis T2. I don't think so. I think if they do a 91 car, it's going to be they're going to copy the one that won. So it's going to be a Masami car. And even mine, like I got the 89 card. I already have 4 Masami replicas. So it's like it almost feels wrong to not do it like his car. But it's like, do I want another Masami car? I know how I would do it. And I would really like to have the carbon chassis over the. I honestly don't know if I really want to race it. And that's kind of my thing. If I get the carbon chassis, I definitely don't want to race it. Yeah, you definitely need the long arms are the big thing. Now, I don't know if we'll do anything. I don't know if we would do anything different this year than we did last year, um, with track prep, but it's obviously like a different kind of dirt because where like Vegas grooved up, Sanity did not groove up. It was like a motocross track. By the time the mains got around, it was rough. Like you were just trying to survive. There was really no, you couldn't even race. You were just surviving for 6 minutes. I mean, it was fun, but uh so I think, and he kind of compacted it and wet it a little bit. So it's like, we wanted it to have that fluff to it, but I almost think it got like a little too much. So I don't know if we compact it a little more and maybe keep wetting it. I don't know. We'll see. Last year, the one in April, it was more of a exhibition race or like just like a test race, just to see what the track would do, see if we could find like what kind of tires worked. Um, I unfortunately did not have the tires. Because what was supposed to happen was, um, so J Concepts made those new pin paddles or step paddles, and the um, Pioneer wheels, and I had gotten a sample set of truck wheels and a sample set of buggy wheels back in like February, and just to try and see how they fit and everything. So right around the time of the Hoosier race is when they had the samples of the new skinny carvers and the step paddles. So at the Hoosier race, J Concepts had two trucks on display, and one of them had the normal Pioneer wheels, standard width, with pin paddles front and rear, and then they had another one with pin paddles on the back, and then the narrow Pioneers up front with the skinny carvers. And before I left there, I was supposed to take the tires off the skinny ones, the tires that were on the one, I think it was the gray one. It had the pin paddles in the back and the skinny ones on the front. I was supposed to take tires and wheels off of that before I left, but just the way like the award stuff happened and everyone's trying to get out of there, it didn't happen. And they had the sample carver and step paddles for the buggy also, but they weren't at Hoosier. So when we got back, I was supposed to message Jason about sending me that stuff, but he was leaving to go to Australia for the warm up, the world's warm up, and someone I don't can't remember someone was supposed to get the stuff together and get it to me, and it never got to me. So I didn't have the tires. I was gonna like kind of test the tires out up to those new pin paddles up there, but I didn't get them. So that's probably what I'm gonna get for my stuff for next year. Saw the step paddles in the back. Yeah, what was I saying? Pin paddles before? Step paddles for the buggy and the truck. Uh, and I'm gonna run the skinny ones on my T2 or my 10T just because I want to. last year, guys were running pretty much anything. They're running carpet tires, um, anything with deep separated pins, or else they would just clog up. So ribs in the front and deep separated pin tires in the back. Like I'm not joking when I said I wish I had these in the main. That's not a lie. So that's what I said. Yeah, you can definitely leave them at home. Definitely no bar tires at the Roost Palooza. But it's fun though. But I think we're gonna have to come up with um I think it's gonna be a we know what not to do, maybe for the next race. Yeah, I mean I they probably would be fine, the kit tires. Because I even said that too, because well, I didn't have any of them, but I know there was guys that had bought the re-release 10T, and I don't remember if anyone was using them, but I know I said to myself that the kit 10T tires probably would work pretty good there. Because the track was it was so blown out. It really was. It was like a motocross track. You're just like throttle on the whole time just to keep momentum up. Yeah, I never been to DNC. I think it was a real mixed bag last year with what tires guys are running. Yeah, it got super blown out. Yeah, it's baseball field clay. So when he actually builds the track, he loads it up with sugar and stuff to hold it together. Well, it's not smooth. Like even it's hard packed now, and there's going to be grit, but it ain't no smooth surface. So um, you're you're definitely going to want ride height and a little softer on the suspension to get through it. Earlier in the year, like the track, you could kind of like lower the car and even run it like a little stiff because the tracker isn't, it's still like held together pretty good. But it doesn't patch well. It's because of the sugar. It's like when he initially puts it in, it's good, but the repairs just don't take. So no, just bring everything. Yeah, I don't know Losi spring rates and shit. So and their pistons, because I haven't messed with them since the early '90s. Um, but I mean, typically I run silvers on the front of my B2 and B3, and greens on the back, and that's small bore AE stuff. Um, but I don't remember what the spring rates are on those off the top of my head. 245 then. No, that's too stiff. If it's the second from the stiffest, I would say that's too stiff. Ask Jose what he ran. His shit was good last year. Yeah, it's weird. It's like it's bumpy and stuff, and like I say, he tries to keep up with the when the faces of the jumps get fucked up or you know big problem areas on the track. From landing on uh, dive bombing corners and stuff. The track gets kind of ripply getting up to corners and where it breaks up and shit from guys landing in spots. And he tries to keep up with it pretty well, but they just never seem to. The repairs don't. They just don't seem to stick. You know. And this is the last race of the season, so there's really no reason for him to spend all kinds of time on it. Because I don't care. I'll race on it. Yeah. It's actually kind of fun when it's bumpy because you gotta move around. You gotta find the fast way around. It's more fun like that. I'm gonna bring because I know a lot of guys um, ask about like being able to see it, like being able to watch the race and stuff. So I was talking with Cam about the because I didn't know if Brian would know. Um, but I was talking with Cam about being able or like what I would need to do or what would need to be done to hook up a camera. So I'm gonna bring just a webcam, and he said you should be able to. There's a setting or whatever in the software that just has to get you know set up or something like that, so that way because like we have a live RC and guys can follow along with the races, but there's no video. So hopefully we can get the video working, and then uh, hopefully we can figure that out on Saturday, and then it'll work for Sunday. Because I thought about bringing my laptop and like kind of putting it off to the side somewhere and live streaming the race on my laptop on RC10 Talk. But it's not going to have any of the live RC stuff. There's not going to be any stats on it or anything like that. So it's be kind of a waste, and it probably just screw my laptop up, getting dirty and shit. So we'll see if we can figure that out. I'm not sure who's running the race. I don't know if Brent's going to run it. Um, but we'll see if we can get the camera stuff figured out so at least it can get, guys can watch it on Live RC. It might not be perfect, but it'll be something. Maybe we can try something, try and figure something out better for next year. Oh, thanks, John. And I kind of think we'll just run it in reverse too. Because a couple weeks ago, or the other week, Brian messaged me and said that, uh, he took that wall jump out and the other getting it ready to run the reverse direction for uh, the Halloween race. And I figured as long as it seems like like the flow is pretty good, then I kind of like to kind of do it reverse, mainly just because it's different than what we did in June. So at least it's different, right? Uh, Because like the Palooza race was the same layout. It's the same layout. Palooza was the same layout. It just wasn't the hard pack surface. Um, so you ran, you know, the normal, uh, the forward direction. So I guess what was that? Counterclockwise, I guess if you want to call it, and now it's clockwise. So yeah, we ran counterclockwise on the hard pack in June. So might as well go backwards. That way, it just feels different than in June. Yeah, I saw the video from uh I guess it was Sunday. Going backwards or going reverse, and it looked pretty good. I don't run sauce there. I really don't need it. I mean, if really needed to like, soften your tires up a little bit, like maybe if you had the wrong compound or they're a little stiff and you wanted to try and get a little bit more grip in them, you could try, but yeah, you really don't need it. I just run uh I got unless I'm like my rib tires, I got open cell foam, but for the most part I just run closed cell foam with super softs. And they don't really burn up much either, even with the sugar, they tires last pretty good. And any help you need, there'll be more than enough guys there. Even if you're not all like totally ready. Just try and get out there and have some fun. which fan or which fan RC10? The graphite or the double deck one? I haven't bought. Well, there. I lie. I think I only have like two things from Fan because I got plenty of crap. I got enough stuff. I got a lot of stuff, but there's also a lot of stuff I don't have that would move stuff forward. Um, but I haven't really needed to buy anything of his. I had to buy something off the wall at Hoosier. But it was like the spring and that heavy aluminum piece for the clutch spring for the V2 clutch. I had to buy one of those. And I got a set of ball cups for that Masami stealth car. And I'll have to order another. They weren't mine, but I'll have to order another set of those for mine. And a set for the Kinwald car too, because the AE ones are junk. Oh, Vincent, about the traction compound, I clean my tires off with, I have a tire wash thing with a brush on the bottom that I have Simple Green in. So it's like I clean the tires with Simple Green, and that's about it. Um, so they make them a little stickier, but they don't soften them or anything like that, like a traction compound would. But that's the only prep my tires get. Which reminds me, I gotta clean it. The I haven't cleaned it out since coming back from the vintage nats, so it has like this quarter-inch layer of dirt on the bottom, and then like an inch of green like an inch of Simple Green. Yeah, I haven't needed to get any of the fan stuff. I do have the biggest fan thing that I have, and it was from before he was even like fan RC. It was just he was just kind of doing stuff small, but he had done the B5 in all white, and you can get them now from L whatever over in England. But fans want us making the stuff or making the parts. So he had made at least one, and Sony bought it, and they got tired of it, so they sent it to me. So I have an all white B5 from before it was fan RC. It was just fan making stuff and selling it. So it's complete other than shocks. And that's it. Yeah, just shocks. Has turnbuckles and everything on it. I did have wheels on it till I stole them for the long arm B3. Yeah. I don't really know what I'm going to do with that. It was taken apart when it was sent to me, so I put it back together. But I really want the white shock hardware, and I don't have any white, like no shock rod ends or spring cups and stuff. And I know that LL Racing or whatever they're called, the ones that are selling them, they have blue shocks on them, but I don't remember if the hardware is white. So if I could at least get the spring cups and the shock rod ends in white, I'd be happy. And I'll just put some associated shocks on it, and it's done. Other than that, I don't really know what to do with it. I'm not like into it at all, but I don't know if I would really want to race it either. But what do you got to cut on the servos? What do you got to cut the ears off? Man. I have a hard time doing that stuff too. I would find a used servo that's already done to. That somebody already did it to. Well, it's 12 o'clock. I still got to do some dishes. So, thanks everyone for hopping on to chat. And if you're going to be at the race this weekend, I'll see you then. All right. Take it easy, guys.